Now we're gonna make a simple party dish. I think everyone loves cheese. So like, you know, every single party that I go to, usually we'll have cheese and crackers on the table. But you know, there's a fancy way to do it. Why not just serve cheese with crackers? So today we're gonna bake the cheese, but not just baking the cheese, but we're gonna actually wrap in the puff pastries. It's very, very simple. It's definitely give that wow factor to your next party. Here we have a double brie. Make sure if you're gonna buy the double brie that comes with a wooden carton like this, don't throw it away. I'm gonna show you a good trick later. Now, this brie, what we're gonna do is, instead of, we don't just wrap the brie in the puff pastry, it actually go with some ingredients, some few simple ingredients. Here, we have a few rashers of bacon and toasted walnuts, just a handful, you don't have to have a lot, and cranberries. I think cranberries and cheese go very well together. So firstly, we're gonna chop up the bacon. So I have about 2 rashers. So try to cut it as small pieces as possible because you don't want a big mouthful of bacon with the cheese. So you just want to chop it very, very finely. Now we're gonna chop up the cranberries. Like I said, why we use the cranberries or whatever sweet fruit you can find is because the brie and the bacon is going to be salty, so we need some sweetness to balance it out. So cranberries are the good pairing. Here we have all the ingredients chopped up. We just have to mix them all together. So the bacon goes in, the cranberries. For the walnuts, you can just use your hand and break them apart into smaller pieces. Okay, now we're going to use some honey as a binding agent, so we don't need a lot. We just need like a tablespoon, just enough to bind them together. So we'll just mix them together. I think our fillings is ready, so now it's time to wrap up the cheese. So now we have a puff pastry sheets. It's been sitting out thawing, so it's all malleable now. So what we're going to do is, it's probably because we need to cover the bottom and the top of the cheese, so we might have to roll it out a little bit more, just enough surface to cover it up. What we're going to do, place the cheese on top of the puff pastry, give it about another inch or 2 inches around diameter around the cheese, so because we're going to wrap over the cheese later. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut around the cheese. Okay, now what you're going to do with the filling is we're going to place the filling on top of the cheese. So just grab a few spoonfuls. And take your time. What we're going to do is we're going to start wrapping the puff pastry around the cheese. So start by one corner. You don't have to seal all the way to the top because we're going to cut another layer to seal it. So just enough to overlay a little bit. So make a little cream, make a little plate around it. I think presentation for this dish is quite important. So now that looks pretty good to me now. All right, remember that little carton come with this cheese? So what we're gonna actually use it is actually use it as a ring cutter. So, I mean, obviously you can use a ring cutter, but save you from washing, just use this. Simple enough. Cut on pastry. We're going to lay that on top of that brie. Perfect cover. What we're going to do now is we have to make sure all the pastries are sealed. We're going to just use a fork and just gently press it down to seal it. And the last step, use a brush with some egg wash. Just give the pastry a good brush, and that's it. So in it goes into the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, around 200 degrees. It should be ready by then. Now, our cheese is in the oven for 25 minutes. Now I think it's time to take it out and see. It's the moment of truth. That looks beautiful to me. You pretty much can serve it right now, but the cheese inside will be melting hot, so you have to be very careful. If not, you can always bake an hour earlier before the party. Just let the cheese set a little bit before the party. So we can't wait. So I think it's time to cut it open and see what it's like inside. Let's see. Look at that. Oh my God, isn't it the sexiest things you've ever seen? I mean, you can serve this with biscuit like lavash or even just some, baguette on French toast, and that's it. I mean, for me, I'm more than happy just to use my fingers now. Not very glamorous, but I'm gonna have some. It's beautiful. Try that as your next party.